our old friend, seemingly already retired, looks at the still lively nurse with a serene gaze. She calmly, apparently unaware of the previous episodes,
Hello, Mother.
replies that the diagnosis will only be known tomorrow. In the Alcoholics Anonymous Club, where everyone suddenly got cancer, one of the dying unexpectedly decided to fight to the end. The doctor gives our old man a few months to live, which at his age seems like a fairly optimistic prognosis. But the little man is still upset, because he had about 50 more years ahead with a lot of plans. The doctor has almost convinced our old man to retire. He almost agreed when suddenly he becomes a witness to death and nostalgia overwhelms him. He imagines tying the young thief to a chair, inserting vacuum cleaner tubes into his eyes, and giving a long lecture on the benefits of the nursing profession in our cruel world.
There is a sickness inside you that needs to be excised.
Dad, is that you?
But the execution did not take place, because the thief, feeling the unhealthy gaze of the old man, abandoned his idea. The disappointment Jigsaw, missing out on the loot, is already signing a will for unknown receiver.
$3 million cash.
When suddenly he meets a healthier Harry, the same alcoholic who was going to fight till the end. Fight, he says. Don't give up, no matter your age. Can you imagine how many more limbs you can saw off? Here, says him, Pedersen from Norway. He cut out all my insides and now I have nothing that could hurt. Although doctor's last name raised suspicions for Kramer, he still decides to take advantage of this chance. Kramer finds out on social media the unhealthy-looking Pedersen, who talks about how despite his own cirrhosis, he can revive dead cells. Sharon Stone, Pedersen's daughter, who is also Pedersen,
Have you ever fucked on cocaine? It's nice.
explains why her dad could cure only existing illness and why the global community is against it. This global conspiracy impresses our naive old man, and after a little brainwashing, he makes a decision. Soon Pedersen, Pedersen's daughter, contacts our old man and organizes a meeting in Mexico. Kramer arrives in Mexico and he's greeted by a handsome young man, a taxi driver dreaming of becoming a guide. Passing by the monument to the local Santa Claus, the guy earns sympathy from the passenger, demonstrating sadistic tendencies.
That's where the priests chop the hearts out of their subjects and roll them down the stairs.
Suddenly, bandits out of nowhere almost shot them both, but Kramer guessed the password.
John Kramer.
Welcome. Hey, you want a beer? Want something to drink?
Hello.
My bad. My bad. I'm in a... Booyah, baby! Why don't you tell us something, huh?
Young Salma Hayek greets him.
Dr. Cecilia Peterson.
See?
Lies Salma, because Pedersen is Cheryl Stone. Everything around is so cute, so pleasant, it feels good, and you want to live like an Al Pacino in The Godfather. Pedersen leads the client through the chicken coop to a room wrapped in culinary film, where people in white coats resembling doctors and one patient resembling a terrorist are present. He has such a touching story of recovery that our Kramer would have cried if his eyes did not tear constantly. In a heartfelt conversation between him and Pedersen, he sincerely confesses that he was an engineer without going into details. Meantime, Salma successfully worked out the advertising of the brand. Kramer became friends with Ronaldo and, overcoming the desire to chop up the boy in small pieces, fixes his bike. The operation was successful, and Kramer can now peacefully die of an old age with a normal hemoglobin.
My God, what have they done to you?
They've taken some of my blood.
So he sits in the park and swiftly draws a tool for his future project of dissecting astronauts.
The choice is yours.
Following the principle of payback time, he decides to reclaim the brand advertising.
Tequila!
and returns to place where the center of brain cutting is located. He immediately understands everything, and if it weren't for a bottle of tequila, he would hardly cope with the stress. But judging by what he was planning to do, the placebo effect seems to have worked. The first to pay for the deception was a taxi tour guy. Kramer would have made scissor hands from him if Johnny Depp had agreed for the role. In general, the guy has 2 bombs from both sides. After a brief lecture of combating cancer formations, the poor man receives instructions on what to do to survive.
Hot two, they get a bing, bong, boom, hot two. Hot two, they get a bing, bong, boom, hot two.
He manages to complete the task, cuts off his hands, and receives a first aid kit as a reward, which he is unable to use. Meanwhile, Valentina fights with some huge guy, and we would have finally seen something interesting.
Show me the worst.
Service!
Did you break my stool?
No.
If we weren't tricked with a pig. The anesthesiologist turns out to be selling drugs, and young Salma Hayek is a drug addict. The pig stuns the drug dealer with a stun gun and ruins the pleasure for our young addict.
Oh, it's dinner time.
Meanwhile, our elegant organizer reveals the financial secret, and we finally find out what angered our engineer.
$250.
While she persuading another client on the phone, someone throws a stone through the roof. She tries to escape, but the pig blocks her way. And our Kramer also turned out to be pig as well. It becomes clear that the first pig is the survivor from the first part of the Saw. And to avoid getting completely confused with the pigs, they show us that everything that happened before was the work of our Amanda. The whole group wakes up with chains around their necks. They activate some machine for Valentina, which soon should cut off her head. Jigsaw reads her a lecture about who invented what.
Was invented by an Italian physician, Leonardo Gili.
Picasso?
Then it's the same old story. You have to cut off the legs so it doesn't decapitate you. Valentina fulfills some strange erotic fantasy of sucking the bone marrow out of the severed leg, but she doesn't have enough time and ends up losing her head completely. While Amanda and the old madman discuss what they can do to make their world cleaner, Patterson comes up with a clever plan that requires Valentina's internal organs, as by then only her stomach remains. The plan succeeded, and our blonde woman takes possession of the phone but doesn't have a chance to use it. The patient, who looks like a terrorist, also returns to the birdhouse for money, and as tradition claims, they tie him to a chair. No weapons allowed, they tell the disarmed person tied up to the chair.
No guns.
An anesthesiologist drug dealer enters with a strange crown on his head.
King.
On recording device, a very politely voice explains the rules of the game, accompanied by a medical encyclopedia.
Hello, Mateo.
Goodbye.
Anyways, now it's time to use brains. In short, there are no options. We have to saw through the skull. The blonde confidently leads the process again, while the poor guy performs trepanation on his own skull, and again in vain. Amanda and Kramer, excited by what they see, swear to love each other till death cuts them apart.
A year?
Months.
And promise that their business will live forever. Salma gets roasted like a chicken on a grill. And of course you have to break or cut off your hand and then do same with the leg quickly before the degree of roasting becomes incompatible with life. Meanwhile, the patient terrorist turns out to be Sharon Stone's lover. Apparently this couple is even more insane. And the tournament begins with Kramer and young Ronaldo. Kramer says something in Spanish to the boy,
Ojalá.
but apparently it doesn't work because they both are restrained on the floor and strange colored blood pours onto both of them. After severed legs, arms, heads, extracted brains, the water torture turns out to be the most horrifying. It soon becomes clear that our old man has planned everything down to the smallest detail, and the two villains ends up killing each other and die. The money that Amanda was counting on, Kramer donates to poor Mexican children for their education. The Jigsaw, the pig, and the nephew of dismembered Edward Selma go off into the distance, presumably searching for an alcoholic without organs from whom everything started. But we'll only find out about this from Saw 11. Thanks a lot for watching, guys. Like if you liked it, subscribe, and don't forget to leave a comment. And see you in the next episode.